As a first step, we would see how to set up our environment or how to set up our local system to work or to make it suitable for the working React.js code, right? So you need all of these softwares which will help you simplify your React.js programming and the development speed. So the first software you would need is any of your favorite code editor, that is Visual Studio Code or Sublime or IntelliJ or anything. But I really found that Visual Studio Code goes very well with the React.js because you have a lot of plugins and it is very smooth and it doesn't take too much of RAM or anything. So Visual Studio Code, I felt the lightest and best possible uh, code editor for the React.js. So we'll see all of these softwares. So currently I'm on Mac. I'll show you how to install on Windows or Linux or any Unix based systems, and you just follow the guidelines which I mentioned in the documents, and you can install all of your software according to your system requirements, right? Then we'll be having Node.js, which is the core software which we would need, which we'll download from the Node.js official website. But why do we read Node.js for running React.js? So this is a big confusion, which I'll be clarifying later on. But we would need Node.js in our local environment, and that's when we can start developing our React.js, or there comes any JavaScript development. So even Angular need Node.js software installed in your local, right? And then we would need, and this is a very useful software which will help you a lot. So NVM means Node Version Manager. So Node Version Manager, by having this in your PC, so it is very easily available for both Linux and Mac systems. It is available for Windows also. I'll share the tutorial for you how to install it. So basically NVM is the Node Version Manager. So with NVM installed in your system, you can control or change the node version at any time whenever is required. So if you feel this project needs Node.js version 10, then you can install Node.js version and you can change your entire system Node.js version to version 10. And then if you suddenly want another version like 14, you don't have to uninstall 10 and install 14, and then all of these nonsense can be totally avoided with NVM. And it is a really useful tool, which I would strongly recommend everyone on the Linux and Mac based systems. They can go with the NVM. And then we have essential plugins. So as I said, VS Code or Visual Studio Code goes very well with React.js development or any JavaScript development. I'll talk about the 15 essential or the important plugins which are really helpful for VS Code and for the React.js development. And also we would need GitHub install if you want to put your project somewhere on the source control like GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab, anywhere, right? So you can install Git on your local, and you have the React developer tools, a Chrome plugin. So for all the Chromium based browsers, you have this React developer tools plugin, which is really helpful actually. And when you want to debug your code, when you want to understand what's happening with your code and everything. Okay, so let's see how you can install all of these, right? So let's see how you can install all of these. So first we'll go with the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Visual Studio Code, download it, and you can pretty straightforwardly install. So Visual Studio Code. So based on your operating system, is it a 34-bit or 62-bit or ARM based? Whatever your processor based on, pick that and you will get an exe file for Windows and you can simply install it. Similarly, for the Linux, you will have .deb or .rpm, whatever is comfortable. So if you are Ubuntu, or if you are on Ubuntu, you can directly pick up this .deb, and if you are on Red Hat or Fedora, you can go with .rpm. And also you can go with choose your right platform, which is 64 or ARM64. I'm on Mac, so I have downloaded the Mac version. So all the 10.11 version plus any of those forward, and it applies for both Apple new latest M1 chip and also the Intel chip. So the installer is same for both of these. So download the Visual Studio Code from here, and once you download, next we will move on to the next software, which is called as Node.js. So Node.js, I would strongly recommend to download the Node.js software from the official website itself. So Node.js has two main softwares listed over here. So if you see LTS and the current. So we need to understand this, what is LTS and what is current. So Node.js guys keeps on working on releasing a new version, fixing the existing bugs, or adding new features to the programming language. So they always have these two versions running parallelly. One is LTS, which means latest stable version. So this version has been identified as stable and it has been used by many people. So they marked it as there are no ongoing bugs in this version. So LTS is the recommended one when you want to develop any project, but you want to try some experimental features in the current, so which is the currently ongoing work. So this on this version, it is the development has been is being going on. Many PRs are being merged and where reviews are being happening. So I would strongly recommend go with the LTS version, which is the latest stable version, and the current on this date when the video is being recorded, it is coming with 16.3.1. One important thing which you need to understand that when you install Node.js, it also bundles the npm. So you don't have to install npm separately. But what is npm? We'll have a very detailed video of what is npm and how to deal with npm in next coming videos. But npm is the node package manager. So this is the core reason. So you install Node.js for working on a front-end project like React.js. And why? Because you will get npm bundled with Node, and npm is the node package manager. So if you see npm is the node package manager, wherein you will have all the libraries installed. I mean, when you want to share any app, or when you want to share any iOS or Android, you have Play Stores and App Store, right? Similarly, npm is such a place where you will find all the Node.js libraries installed. So that's why you would need Node.js installed for a front-end project like React.js. And based on your operating system, you can go with any of these, Windows 7 or Mac or source code, right? So just click on it and you choose your platform, and the download will be started automatically, and you click on the install and follow the installation guides. You will have the Node.js version running. So after installing the Node.js, what you have to verify is you need to run the command node-v, which gives you the Node.js version, that is currently installed Node.js version. So I'm on my Mac, so I'm using the normal terminal of the Mac. On Windows, you can use CMD or PowerShell, and for Linux, you have the terminal installed right away. So node -v gives the Node version, and also you also get the npm bundled with the Node.js. So when you install Node.js itself, you will get another software bundled with you, that is npm, which is called as Node Package Manager. So if I check the version of npm, it is 6.14.15. So both of these softwares come together. You don't have to install npm separately. And after downloading and installing the software, you verify that by running this command node-v. You don't have to do any extra steps. It will be pretty straightforward for both all the platforms, right? And then we will talk about one of the important and my favorite software, which is called as NVM. So NVM is Node Version Manager. So similarly, you have this kind of version managers for Python, which we call as virtual environment. It means you can set up the version, whatever Node.js version you want. So if suddenly one project requires, it is working on very old project, so it is the Node.js version is maybe 10, and the new project you are working on is on 14 or 16, like the latest stable version. So you have to switch back to the versions, and installing and uninstalling would be painful, right? So this Node Version Manager basically helps you switching to the Node.js versions very easily. Like you can run nvm use. Now you will be using the Node version 14. So similarly, whatever you want, if you want nvm 12, you can install it, and you can, if you want nvm 16, you can install it, right? So how do you install it? So for Linux and Mac, you can pretty straightforwardly follow all of these commands, execute one by one. It is a very detailed tutorial. So you just execute this command and this command, and run this command, which will set the directory path for the NVM. And once it is done, you just verify by running all of these commands. You should pick up the NVM command, right? And then you have the same. So for Windows, NVM also supports Windows in some cases. So you go to this tutorial and try to install the Windows version of the NVM. So for Windows people, but I would strongly recommend every one of you to be on Linux or Mac, because these softwares are very good for running any of the programming in JavaScript or Python or anything, because they do have a lot of flexibility. Windows restricts down because Windows is not meant for a programmer. Windows is meant for someone end user like banking employees or anyone. Like, it is not specifically made for programming. So I would strongly recommend, if you are working on .NET or anything, then Windows would be a very good choice for you, because it is the .NET language is maintained by Microsoft, so they do have very good compatibility. But if you're working on Node.js or Python or Java or anything, Linux would go very well with it. So I'd strongly recommend, if you're on Windows, please uninstall, or you just boot up Linux on top of Windows, and then you can do all of your programming on the Windows. So NVM, you can follow this tutorial and it will have all the ways how you can install, pick up one way, and you should be able to see. So after installing the NVM, can just run the command nvm-v, and this will have the latest version of NVM. So now I'll start using the NVM. I'll show you how to use NVM. So first, nvm ls remote, nvm ls-remote. This command will give you all the list of Node.js versions which are available to download. Okay, so these are all the list of versions which are available for download. And if you see, this 14.7.6 is currently being highlighted, which is because it is the version which I'm right now using. So you want to download any of the versions, it is very easy. You just pick up the version number like this, nvm install 16. So when you run this command, what will happen is it will go to the Node.js website, it downloads the Node.js version 16 automatically, and it will install the Node.js version 16 in your PC. So see, if I run this command nvm install 16, it will take some time, right? After installing Node.js version 16, you can check, you can see nvm, you can run this command nvm use 16, and this will switch to the version Node version 16.3.1, which is the latest stable version. And also the npm version is changed because both of these two are compatible. So 14 was compatible with version 6, and 16 was compatible with the 8.1.2, which was actually mentioned in the official documentation, right? So you can now verify npm and Node.js version using this. So Node version is 16.3.1. That way, now if you want to switch back to the previous version, you can simply do no nvm use 14, and you are now switched back to the previous version of Node.js. So nvm will really help you a lot, guys. Keep installed in your system. And also, as I mentioned, Linux and Mac based systems, Unix based systems are very good for programming, so I strongly recommend them for you, right? And then we'll look at the plugins. So what are the different plugins which you need? So after installing the VS Code, I would go to this settings icon over here, right? Settings icon, and you will find a list which is called as extension. So click on the extensions and you will find the list of, a search bar where you can find all the extensions, and you can simply install and uninstall them. So I'll explain what are the different React extensions which will be very useful for you when you're developing or when you're working on the React.js project. So ES7 React Redux GraphQL Return. So this extension, and there is another extension which is called as Prettier. So this will format your code. So this will, you just search for Prettier. You just search for Prettier and you click on the install. This will be installed in your library. So if you see here, JavaScript, TypeScript, Flow, JSX, CSS, HTML, Vue, all of these languages are supported since we write in JavaScript, so it is already supported for us, and JSX is also there for us. So Prettier is one of the famous tool. You can see famous plugin, how many number of downloads you have for it. And then you have auto rename tag. This plugin is really helpful because if you mistype any HTML tag, because while you're developing, you don't focus really on the spellings and all. So this auto rename tag will be very helpful to you. ESLint. So this ESLint is very famous. If you see the number of downloads also, this ESLint plugin is very famous, guys. I think it is the highest downloaded plugin. So this ESLint identifies the potential warnings or potential syntax errors in your code, and it shows a red line so that you are not missing it anytime. And also ESLint comes up with some of the good practices of the Node.js. So when you're writing Node.js, if you're deviating from the good practices, ESLint shows you again warnings and what do I say? Warnings and error messages. So if you go to ESLint, type ESLint over here, you should be able to find. This was by the Microsoft guys officially. So if you read about it, if you read, these are the different features of ESLint. So ESLint is one of the highest recommended plugin, guys. You can go with it. And there you have Gitlines. If you are working on any project which is developed by multiple people and the code is maintained in code repository, Gitlines will help you a lot because it will help you which line of code has been written by whom. And the same way you will have VS Code style components, TypeScript, React code snippets, better comments, Git history, import constant. It will display the size of the imported module in your project. Similarly, so you can check all of these VS code plugins. They will really help you a lot while you are developing your application. And the last software which you would need is the React developer tools. So go to the Chrome Web Store, go to the Chrome Web Store, right? Go to the Chrome Web Store and search for React developer tool. So this will really help you a lot actually. So Google, search for React developer tools in the Google, React dev tools, right? So you will be redirected to a Chrome web store where you can find the plugin. So install it in the Chrome, right? Install as a plugin in the Chrome. Why is it very useful? Because you can see all that. So when you write a React code, it is ultimately being converted to HTML and CSS because browser never understands React. Browser never knows a thing about React or Angular or Vue. So any framework or any library you are writing, it is ultimately getting converted. It is just abstraction for us. Since we are lazy to write so better and powerful JavaScript code, we write it in React, so it is ultimately getting converted into some HTML. But when you want to debug your code in the normal way which you have written, like that is in the JSX or anything, this React dev tools will be of great help. Like if you go and inspect, you can also verify using this tool. Like if the website is written in React.js, so you will automatically find two more sections. So I'll show you. Let's go to the React.js official documentation, which is obviously written in React.js. So if I inspect over here, I can find, see, two more sections, components and all. So here you will find all the components which are present, to-do list and all of this. So when you work on your project, you will know what components you have defined. So based on that, if you want to do anything, if you want to hide or if you want to add and attach event listener or anything, this React DevTools will be of great help, right? So use this React DevTools as well. It will be very good to you. And yeah, so all of these softwares with the plugins installed, with the Git installed, with the VS Code installed, with the Node.js installed, and one of the famous software NVM installed, you should be able to develop your project very well, right? So that's it.